Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, a morning update after that rant this morning. And to my lovely subscriber that says it's right wing, whatever, nothing that I said was right wing anything. It was the state of the economy, the state of inflation, right? The draconian, communist, unconstitutional vaccine mandates that the federal government's doing. That has nothing to do with right wing or left wing. It has to do with a criminal organization, otherwise known as the United States government. And you ask what we can do about it. What you can do about it is start holding these politicians and heads of state, presidents, senators, and congressmen fucking responsible for their illegal actions and throw them the fuck in jail and stop submitting and stop calling people right wing for saying that your constitution's being violated. I said the same thing under former President Donald Trump with his money printing. I said it was a fucking disaster, right? And it is a disaster. Just as when Barack Obama was doing it, I said it was a fucking disaster, right? But you people, the mainstream, get bought up into the corporate state-run media and propaganda that got you believing anybody that says anything about, God, this is so stupid when it does that. Anybody that says anything about communism and our rights being taken away and the fundamental freedoms and liberties that we're supposed to have and protected by God and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, you guys put as right-wing extremists. It's because you're fucking brainwashed. It's not right-wing extremists to be pro-Constitution, to be pro-freedom and liberty, you fucks. You know, get your fucking shit together. You want a solution? Stop fucking allowing this nonsense to happen. When somebody says, the federal government saying you can't smoke inside of your restaurant or bar anymore, and people said that's a problem, you morons that are making the same statement that my beautiful subscriber said, oh, right-wing shit, when people said the federal government doesn't have the authority to tell a private business what to do, and it's a very dangerous, slippery slope. Well, we've tried to tell you that as these laws become passed, but you guys have the same fucking nonsense that you talk about. Just like with this XRP, we were in this descending triangle, and then we came up here and topped out in a glorious double top, like we talked about last night in that phenomenal video that I put out, and we showed you the pattern that we're in. I don't know why I just deleted that line, but the pattern that we believe that we may be in was something like this. And getting back to my point as we multitask here, we tried to tell you that if you give the government an inch, they take a fucking galaxy. When they were trying to force businesses and succeeded to tell them that they were not allowed at a bar or a restaurant to let their customers smoke into there, once you gave the government that authority to do that, and you sheep bashed anybody that was trying to tell you what the danger of that was, would call them conspiracy, right wing, whatever the fuck, tinfoil hat. No, you give them the authority to do that. Now they think they have the power to mandate vaccines, to shut and forcibly close your business down. Remember when we were talking about that 12 months ago? We said restrict that, keep your business open. There's a solution. And I was touting that the whole time. I said, if you own a business and they're telling you to close down for 14 days, do not do it, because it's going to turn into forever. And guess what? Some states, it's 2 years later and they're still locked down. And then all these massive restrictions, and now even more draconian restrictions. They're confiscating businesses for trying to open up to serve a fucking hamburger, right? I tried to tell you some of the things to do. That's part of solving the problem. You don't comply to unconstitutional, dictatorial, authoritarian fucking rules and mandates. But you sheep followed it, and you sheep told everybody that was trying to warn you that we were crazy conspiracy theorists, right-wing lunatics, whatever the fuck the media tells you to believe, and you guys buy it hook, line, and sinker because you're a fucking bunch of sheep, right? Not so much this audience, but the general public, and that's how we are to where we're at now, and it's going to go into an even deeper spiral as they continue to print money, which is inflation. When you expand the money supply, that is inflation, right? And the effect of that cause of printing money and expanding the money supply, the effect of that is prices rising. And you idiots think it's greedy businessmen that prices rise. No, it's because their costs go up. Their costs go up in order to stay in business and give you the fucking good you want. They got to raise fucking prices. Ain't that fucking hard? You run a business and then prices rise, and you continue to not raise prices, and you lose 10% on every hamburger you sell. You fuck go tell me how long you're going to stay in fucking business, you jabronis. You guys are nothing more than sheep and herd animals. But on with that, as I digress. You can see the XRP we diagnosed last night with our industry-exclusive waving line tool, price predicting forecaster. We said we thought we were in this pattern up here, right? Where you had your major upper resistance that was descending. You had your lower support that was ascending, which made this a symmetrical triangle. DOGECOIN trading alert, right? That made this overall pattern a symmetrical triangle. And we were telling you last night, if you broke this, we have this underneath circle at $1.08, right? Because we thought we'd come down to the 200-day moving average and maybe ride that, and then maybe get bought back up, then maybe back test this, and then maybe trade back down into this green box, and then start trading within this green major support zone, and then eventually come on down and flush. Because as you know, Vincenzo believes we've been calling since way back there, that's off the screen right now, for a big flush, and it's been happening. Nobody else called that flush except Vincenzo. They all kept saying, oh, this price is going way up. Remember back here, as we zoom on out, when the price was down here in rising, right? I told you this is where you would top out at that arrow and then proceed into what we had here and then call the flush all the way down there. Remember that? Wasn't that long ago. Nobody called for that. They all called for, as it was coming up here, to retest somewhere way up here in the stratosphere because Bitcoin was at 65,000 and rising, right? And I told you, no, it's not going to happen, and it flushed 30%. So was I 100% right? No, but I was way more right on a flush and a much better buying opportunity as we were calling for a first target of 92 cents and then a possible buyback up. I didn't think it would get this high, but if it breaks down out of this now and starts trading down here and then falls back into this support line, right? Then comes back up and gets rejected, and then comes back and goes down. It's going to go right back into that flush to the 72-cent target, and I'm not changing that until you break up past this glorious, gorgeous, all jabroni enticing double top. And you'll say, well, you did break above it here a little bit. You wicked above it and then crashed right back below it. You didn't close an hour, a 2-hour, a 4-hour, or a daily candle significantly above that. You didn't close even above it. You closed much below it. You closed a few percent below it because you immediately sold off, right? As soon as you got up there because it's heavy sell pressure, right? So that's all I'm going to talk about that coin. What are some of these other ones that we ain't talked about in a minute? USDCOIN, I know you people like. My old man bought it and he's up 100-something%. So that means with our measuring tool, he would have had to buy that. Let's see, he bought it down there. Oh, he bought it even lower. He bought it all the way down there, it looks like. And he's asking me what to do with it. No, he didn't buy it that low. He bought it somewhere in there. I never tell anybody what to do with their coins or their stocks, because even if they make money and the thing goes up 5% more, they bitch. And then the thing will fucking crash, right? After, but they'll be like, oh, I could have sold it 5% higher. No, you would have held it 5% higher and then held the whole fucking crash, right? So we only give guidance here in the TA and the technical charts and what I'm seeing, right? And I'm not going to lie to you about what I'm seeing. So I just tell you what the fuck I'm seeing. And right now, this is a major support box down there, right? We need to, you can see how long it's been since we've been on this. I don't know what that is. Go down here. We don't like to have that outside shit. That's nonsense, right? Same thing down here. We're going to scroll this shit house, which is way down there. Down there. Hopefully, if you're in this coin, we never revisit that again, but it's always possible. Then I like to take out my fib circle, go from a swing low to what I'm perceiving as a swing high. Drag it out into the future a little bit. And then you can kind of look at that. Then we pull our volume indicator up from the back to up top. And what I suspect is the major volume is going to be way low, and it is. That's why that line's there at the $3.22. That's where your major volume support is, right at the bottom of the get my shit together, aka last line of defense to the shit house. Like I told my old man, he's like, well, what do you think of this coin? Is it any good? It's no different than any other fucking coin. You can see there's barely, the volume is not all that. It doesn't have great volume. That's why the candlesticks look like this in the 2-hour time frame. But what I would expect on this is if you top out at this ring, you'll get rejected and come right back down to that ring. And eventually this thing's going to roll over hard. And I told him, you're up 185%. Whenever you're satisfied with that, take your profit, move on to the next coin, because you're not planning on holding this for any length of time. You're planning on swing trading it, and you over doubled your money, almost 2x your money, right? That would be a successful swing trade, because you can see we're in this skinny, narrow, rising channel. And you know, rising channels are reversal patterns, right? And you can see right here, this is a very narrow one. We can come all the way down into there, your overhead resistance, your upper support. You broke out of that on the top side. But what I would be wary of is, as soon as if you come back down into here, into this channel, and trade up in it, as soon as you get rejected, the targeted move is all the way down at the bottom of the channel, which is way down there at about $4 to $6. So we're going to put a price note down there to remind us of that. Way down here, right? The bottom of the channel, which met about here, which if it broke down, it would probably get supported on a ring. So there's your underneath. Is that a moving average? It is a moving average. It would be way down there, your underneath target, right? So we're going to circle that on that ring, which it's very plausible that it does that, right? So we're going to keep an eye on that. I think you're going to break back down into here, trade within that, and then maybe break down to a ring, come back up, back test it, ride it up, and then start to fall back down, right? So I'd pay attention for something like that to happen, or continue to see if the volume comes in and you continue to push. But just be cautious on here. As soon as it rolls over, it's going to have a big fall, because that's a humongous rising channel that has to break down, and then it'll come and back test probably right there, right down in that area that we're showing. So pay attention for that. And the USDCOIN, I know people like that coin. I have a lot of action on that. A lot of people talk about it. The old man happened to have it, so I figured it was a good time to talk about it on here, right? And then if we look at, what do we want to finish with? We'll finish with the Doge. We ain't talked about the Doge in a minute. You can see the Doge. We thought where we were at the last time we left this coin and talked about it. We thought we had a firm idea what we were in. If we zoom on out here, and then we zoom that out, we were telling you with our industry exclusive wavy line price predictor, with our industry exclusive perching tool, we were telling you that we thought we were trading within this green ring. You can see it from all the way back here, right? You can see it from all the way back there. You trade it through, rejected, fake out, rejected by upper trend line, back in, supported, rejected at the 200-day, came back down, and we think we're going to trade within this descending blue line and this green ring right here, and that's going to eventually squeeze you in, and then you're going to leak out. And that's what we've been following for in the Doge for quite some time. As you can see, as we come around this ring, right, we're going to delete this. You can see, oh, there's another perching tool. We're going to delete that perching tool. You can see as we came around here and we started to come through, you can see what's been happening here. We'll delete that. With our industry exclusive perching tool, we were riding this 786 ring for a long time, and then finally got rejected on the bottom of the 200, the 100, and the 50 in the green, the blue, and the red respectively, then flushed. Came right back down to the 100% retracement level, got some buyers, got bought back up all the way to the 200 and the 786 ring in the same spot, and got rejected, and then got supported on the 50, and then got squeezed in between the 50 and the 200, right? But stayed on the bottom side of that, and then came all the way back down to the 100% retracement ring, then got bought back up and got rejected by the same spot it did here, back there, right here, right there, right now, and here, right today. And it got rejected to the moving averages. Then finally it broke through and came right up to the 618 ring, got rejected back down to the 786 and back tested it, which they like to often do, and then bounce, and then broke through, then got supported on the 618, then came back up to the 50%, got rejected to the moving average, and broke up to the 382% retracement. Then it crashed, back tested, held support on the 50% retracement, came back up to the 382, got rejected, and then it flushed all the way down to the 618, got supported on it twice with a bottom and a local double bottom, and then it pumped back up and straddled for a little bit on the 50% retracement level, and then got rejected violently, and it flushed straight through the 50, the 200, and the 100, straight through the 618 fib circle, all the way down to the 786 where it was getting rejected here, back there, back here, there, and here, right? It was upper resistance. Now this time it wicked down and used it as support, right? Then it got bought back up, but it got bought back up right here, but now it got rejected by the 618 and came back down, traded into the moving averages, got squeezed in a descending pattern, lower highs, right? If we wanted to mark this up, you can see what was going on here. This is why I like to leave lines too. It can show you what was going on in the past. You can see right here, oops, we had that. We had descending support on there. We're going to make that smaller because we don't need it that big. And then we had horizontal resistance right here, right? It's actually higher up, right around that 618, and that's a descending triangle, and that ended up breaking down, and the targeted move out of that would have been from the top to the bottom to the point of a breakout, and you can see it met that targeted move beautifully. So that's how you can technically trade, and then you can just keep following it on what it did. So then it moved through these rings, right? It got rejected up there. So now when we come down, your underneath support is this underneath ring, the 100% retracement level, and on the break up that we've been showing you, we'll get rid of this. Your upper resistance is the 786 ring, right here. See, it's been acting as resistance multiple times recently. See, it held it as support, then it flushed. And now because when it was support coming down and then it flushed on the way back up, its overhead resistance got beat down here and flushed. Came back up, got rejected. Came back up a third time, got rejected. Overshot on a fake out and then got rejected, and now we're back here. So you're going to start to trade in like this in the Doge, and that's why we think we're in between that overhead resistance of that blue line descending across the pattern, right here, and this green ring that's coming around the backside up like that, right? Those are your two resistance zones. So if you come down here, you would likely get supported, right? But if you can't hold that, you got major problems because your next ring is way down here, and we don't want no part of that, right? So we'll keep you updated. Your lower support, 23 cents on the ring. Your upper resistance is 30 cents on the upper green ring, and this descending overhead resistance in blue. Like, subscribe, and share to Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing. Peace and love. Peace and love.